how new ideas find themselves into our ecosystem. Perhaps a new indicator or a new feature for our dashboard, or perhaps an improvement or a bug fix. How does this actually happen? How do we operate internally on this? All right. Now, I'm going to show you the perfect scenario, the one I enjoy the most right now. All right. So we at Trading Indicators, first of all, we love to innovate and improve our tool set. This is what we do. We spend a lot of money and time and resources on this. So many other trading educators out there, I love them all, but they basically have one set of indicators and they keep them for years the same. We don't do this at Trading Indicators here. We make changes and improvements all the time. This is what we do. We are software engineers at heart. We like to improve what we have and optimize. So having this said, how do we do this? How do we come up with new ideas or new improvement ideas or optimizations? And the perfect scenario is the following, because ideally we don't want to kind of make up what we want to create, because that could be sometimes artificial or contrived. It may not really satisfy any real user needs. Ideally, the new feature idea or the improvement idea comes directly from you guys, from our trading community. You send us perhaps an email telling us, hey Daniel, what about this feature? Oh, hey Daniel, this is not working anymore. Or I'd like to suggest something. This is the ideal path of introducing a new feature. So guys, with this, if you have any ideas, any suggestions, please don't be shy. Your feedback is what drives the further development of our tools. So it's really important that you voice your opinions. Having this said, I want to show you one use case now, one scenario of how this happened. And special thanks to Linda right now, because Linda sent me an email. I know Linda is in the room today. Hey, Linda from Ontario. She wrote me an email and said, hey, Daniel, is there any way you could add a filter to the dashboard, to our Liquidity View dashboard, for standard deviations? So basically seeing how far a stock is away from its average, from its mean, in terms of standard deviations. And the answer, and this is a great question, first of all. So I thank Linda. This was on May 6th. This is a great suggestion. Let me think about it. This was my answer, I believe, when I replied to Linda's email. So this came to my inbox by Linda. Thanks for this. And I thought to myself, it is interesting because, I always wanted to have a scan. This comes back to my own need as well, where I can see, hey, this particular stock is extremely overbought or oversold in terms of it's very far away from its average, from its mean. The further, the better. Because sometimes, other things come together as well. Sometimes if a stock is really far away, it will snap back towards its average. And this is tradable. Other things come together as well. So I thought to myself, hey, that's a pretty good idea. It's an interesting idea. Let me investigate this a little bit further. Let me take this away. So we got to work, and after going through some iterations internally, but also asking Linda some other questions, we implemented a first draft of this idea in our dashboard. Not publicly, because we don't want to just, show you some experimental features right away. We did this internally on our development side, which we use internally for our own purposes. And what we did is the following. We have added, first of all, an indicator down here. It's called the Z-score indicator. For now, it's a working title. It may change later on, which basically shows us how far a stock is away from its mean, either to the upside or the downside. And we can also see directly in our scanner here with some filters how far to the upside if it's green, or to the downside if it's red, this number is red, a stock is away from its mean in terms of standard deviations. And before I explain this a bit further, one thought that came immediately to my mind is Bollinger Bands, because Bollinger Bands do exactly this. So let me go quickly to our dashboard right here to explain this a little bit further. So this is our development side. You can see the logo is a bit different here. So I thought about Bollinger Bands. So let me just go to let me go to silver, SLV. Okay. And let's go to full screen mode here. Let's ignore this indicator at the bottom for the second here. Let's just put Bollinger Bands onto this thing. So I'm going to go to indicators. Now that this is possible in full screen mode. Let me put my Bollinger Bands up here. And this is the first thought I had, because Bollinger Bands basically draw a little line. You can see this one here. onto the chart, which is a couple of standard deviations away from the mean. Like this blue line to the top side here, and this blue line to the downside. In fact, let me just quickly hide the other indicators as well, so we can see this a bit better. So these are just the Bollinger Bands on the chart. And I thought, hey, all right, this already exists. It was not something I wanted to do. And also, it doesn't really show us how far a stock is currently away from its mean. Just basically draws these lines at a fixed number of standard deviations, either to the upside or the downside. By default, it's 2 standard deviations, which is the setting in Bollinger Bands. So this is not really something I wanted to do, because I wanted to do something different. I wanted to see how far right now my stock is away from its mean, either up or down. But I don't want to just have a fixed border. This is where the idea of the Z-score indicator came in. You can see it here for SLV, for silver. At some point, when prices really went up, you can see this blue number here. Look at the value here on this side. It was around 2.93, well, 2.1, 1.64, and so forth. Basically shows you, hey, we are more than 2 standard deviations away. Sometimes even further. Like back here, for example, we came down all the way to minus 2.44. This is more what I wanted. I didn't want to have just a measure how close are we to a Bollinger Band. I wanted to see how many standard deviations are we actually away right now from price. And this was the idea of the Z-score indicator. And just to show you how this one works, let me go to the S&P 500s here just to have a smaller subset. We have the Z's. One second. Just give me one quick second. We have the Z-score column right here. We can see, for example, this is sorted right now, that Dell, for example, is 4.09 standard deviations away from its mean. What does that mean? It means it's very extended to the upside. Let's check it out. All right, so I'm going to open it up. We can see Dell. Wow, look at this. Huge move up. Would I trade this down to the downside, thinking it might snap back? Probably not blindly. Definitely not blindly. For this, other things, in my view, need to come together as well. But now at least I can filter for these things. MGM, look at this one here. 5.14 standard deviations up. Huge move up. Yeah, very extended to the upside. A huge gap here. Yeah? So I can find these ones, these symbols now, either to the upside or also to the downside. ROL or CME, huge moves downwards. Rollins, down 3.87 standard deviations. CME Group, I actually kind of like CME Group, also a huge correction, 3.45 standard deviations down. You can see it here. All right, so this is what I wanted, a way to see how far away are we from our mean, in terms of standard deviations, and a way to sort these numbers. You can see it here. I can click on this column to sort it, and a way to filter for those. But there was still one question I wanted to answer. Where does my average actually comes from? How do we establish the mean? Where the mean should be, the average line, this middle line here. And this is a good question, because this determines basically what is considered average and what we consider to be above average or below average. And I thought first, maybe a value something like 50 could be a good value. But I'm not sure if it's the perfect value. I don't know. So this is where the next step came in. So I'm going to go back one more time to our slides here, because once we had our first draft out there, and I showed this draft now at scanning session already, the tweaking optimization starts. And one tweak or optimization was, hey, what is the perfect period, the averaging period, to establish our mean, our average value? It's important. And there are different values we could choose from. Maybe a shorter one is better than 50, like maybe 20. Maybe a larger one is better, like 100 or 200. So what we've done now as the next step, and this is still an ongoing step, is we have extended our experimental site here with different variations of the Z-score. So we still have the 51, which is an averaging period of 50. But in addition to this, we've now also used the 20, the 100, and the 200. So you have all these different values now that we can look at. And what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to go through a couple of examples internally to see, okay, which of these numbers is the one that represents best a truly overbought condition or perhaps a truly oversold condition. Now, so for example, here we're going to go extreme to Z-score 200 and see what we have to the upside. Dell, still Dell. Okay, I guess they're all kind of similar, but on this 200 average, Dell is 6.22 extended. NTAP, 6.07 standard deviation above its mean. The mean here comes from the 200 averaging period. So this is something we're going to be doing next internally to determine what is the best configuration of the scan. Then we're going to do one more round of testing, and if everything checks out, we may release this indicator to the public. This is how we develop or like to develop features here at Trading Indicators. Now, and it was an exceptional case because then also Aubrey, this is from an email I received from Aubrey, I believe yesterday or perhaps 2 days ago, he picked up on this indicator idea in our last scanning session on Saturday, and he said, "Hey Daniel, that's a cool idea. Maybe it can be further supplemented by a chart visualization of how far extended we are, perhaps using Keltner bands." So this is something we'll take into consideration as well. I'm going to take all this input in to develop this feature further, test it one more time internally, and then eventually release it to the public. So what's next? Well, this is what's next. We're going to do some more internal testing, and eventually we're going to release it, potentially even give some trial access to Aubrey or Linda, some other users who are interested to test it out on our behalf. All right. One more question to be answered. When can I expect my idea to be implemented? Let's say you reach out to us with a great idea, you think, and how long does it normally take? Well, there's no clear-cut answer for this. It really depends on many things, how many resources we have available right now to develop it, how complicated it is in the first place, and of course also if it's something that's even feasible. So for example, one thing that I really thought it's a great idea, and I still do so, is an idea by Aubrey, which came in for auto-anchored VWAPs. Great idea, Aubrey. I loved it. Unfortunately, this is something which is very complicated to implement for various reasons. This is why there hasn't been any progress on this yet. But it's still on our to-do list. We've done some initial steps towards it, and once you have something to show, we may do the exact same steps right now. We're going to put it on our internal side. We're going to perhaps invite Aubrey to test it on our behalf, and then eventually add it to our production site. So this is a little bit of a different technical topic here, but showing you how much due diligence we do on our end to introduce new features. And once again, ideally, this process is triggered by somebody out there like you in our trading community to give us an idea, a suggestion of what you would like to see implemented.